Hello, and welcome to Advanced Manufacturing Now, the podcast for manufacturing professionals. I'm your host, Steve Plum, Editor-in-Chief for SME Media, along with the whole SME all-star team of Amy Bryson, Carrie Gitter, Rachel Thomas, and for the first time, Mike McConnell. Mike joined us as Senior Editor in October. Welcome to the team, Mike.
Thank you so much, Steve.
So we're here today to talk about the new issue of Manufacturing Engineering and Technology, and it's a special double issue, December and January, which is our fifth since the relaunch in August under the new name, and to me really encapsulates the magazine's mission of merging technology and people. The feature articles tackle everything from high-speed milling and press brakes to practical applications of AI, which is really starting to make inroads into manufacturing. Amy, I know you worked with one of our contributors on this story. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. Karen Haywood Queen wrote a feature, and it's literally called The Practical Side of AI. And, you can't go anywhere without hearing about, the potential impact of AI in manufacturing. But she really cuts through a lot of the noise surrounding AI and breaks down specific use cases where manufacturers are seeing tangible value. And some of those use cases are quality control, improved design, and predictive maintenance. And in the article, a lot of the experts agree that AI is making manufacturing more resilient and adaptive as well. And while it doesn't replace good judgment, it enables better decision making, which is an important point. A lot of people are seeing value from automating repetitive but really essential tasks, things like estimating job costs, identifying what tools are needed, and recommending machining strategies based on a specific shop's existing equipment. And those are areas where AI can easily fit into a current workflow without demanding that an entire process be, rebuilt from scratch. And so that's important too. So and that demystifies a lot of the lift it would take to pilot some of these AI projects. And the key really is to start small and go for some quick wins. Target areas that have measurable value, such as reducing maybe machine downtime or improving on-time delivery. So experts just say start experimenting with AI and prove out some of these use cases. And specific to even workforce development and training, AI is playing a role. People are using AI successfully to deliver interactive and tailored experiences to boost skills development. And that's a challenge across manufacturers of all sizes. AI is really helping bridge this knowledge gap that exists by transferring really critical institutional expertise to a new generation of workers. And speaking of a new generation of workers, and another article in the December-January issue is this feature called Passport to Innovation. And this one focuses on 3D printing and hands-on learning that's inspiring that next generation workforce. And I had a conversation with the education product marketing manager for Ultimaker, Andrea Zermano, and she leads content for MakerBot's education brand. And the MakerBot education platform is, designed to make 3D printing accessible and immersive in classrooms from K through 12 all the way up to university labs. And it's really hard to keep students engaged. I think anyone who's either been a student or has kids who are students understands that. And 3D printing is critical in helping to not only build technical skills, but, boost engagement, spark creativity, and really take learning out of textbooks and really into the students' hands. So Andrea works with educators and teachers in the United States and really around the globe to develop curriculum and lesson plans to help, kids have ideas, test ideas, and improve on them, just like engineers and designers do in the real world. And we also talked a little bit about how AI is becoming a presence in the classroom. And that's bringing both opportunity and some challenge as educators are kind of worried about how students are using AI, especially when they're using it, outside of teacher oversight. So, ultimately, Andrea says, AI is going to be, a really good tool in the toolkit for education. as long as it's used thoughtfully, it can enrich learning and encourage curiosity. And it's just really interesting to see how AI is impacting, education, design, process, and performance across the current and future manufacturing ecosystem. And Mike, I know you also had a few thoughts on an article that focuses on AI.
Yeah, I did, Amy. Thank you. Well, I'm always interested in artificial intelligence. It's a fascinating subject. It's also a little terrifying, at least to me. But I was attracted to the article because Gaurav Pandey, he works at Tesla as a manufacturing equipment engineer. So I was really interested in his perspectives. And in the article, which is called AI Trends for Predictive Maintenance Strategies, he talks about how your typically thick maintenance manual that's still used are really hard to deal with when technicians have issues they're trying to troubleshoot. And generative AI can be a solution. It could act as a digital assistant, give the technicians the information they need really quickly, just by answering a few well-written prompts by the engineer. And even less experienced technicians could be more efficient because the generative AI would help them walk through the process of fixing a problem. I mean, they could even create a new manual in a easier to follow format or easier to follow language. The article, of course, the author Pandy also notes that hallucinations are still a problem with large language models like ChatGPT and Claude. Anyone who's ever spent any time with those knows that they can just make things up out of nowhere, and you got to watch out for that because that could be a dangerous thing if you're trying to use it for maintenance, learning about maintenance. And he also says that AI is not as proficient yet with digital interpreting diagrams and tables that are usually in most of your service manuals. But he's really excited about the future. I'm too. And he says manuals could eventually be updated in real time, which is something that's going to be fascinating to see. And the other article I found interesting was from contributing editor Kip Hansen. He talked about the struggle to find qualified workers and how that impacts shops. In this case, they're using press brakes for their sheet metal fabrication. And he points out that press brakes today, at most shops, still rely on skilled operators. They have to select the tooling, program the machine, and guide the sheets by hand. But Hansen points out that some of the people he talked to say there's no reason that a press brake can't be automated. And in his article, he talks to people from companies like Trumpf, LVD North America, Bystronic, Cincinnati, and they all talk about how automation can quickly pay for itself and make the process much easier and more accurate. The other thing the article talks about a little bit was it goes into a potentially controversial subject of software that would work across brands, which most manufacturers aren't ready to go that far just yet. But I did find the whole thing very interesting, and I'm curious to see where it goes and learn more about it.
Yeah, this is a story from our Advanced Manufacturing Now section of the magazine that caught my eye and also addresses, alternative automation solutions to labor shortages. One of them explores how mobile robots are future-proofing supply chains, and this was written by Michael Murphy of Boston Dynamics. While navigating the uncertainties of tariffs and inflation, manufacturers have to rethink inventory management while already facing, high labor shortages and turnover rates. And it discussed that mobile robots can provide a solution to streamlining operations, improving safety, and boosting productivity. One example that Murphy shared in his story is the parcel shipping company DHL. They use mobile robots in their supply chain facilities to unload boxes from trucks and shipping containers. And at DHL, Boston Dynamics robot can unload around 580 cases an hour, which is nearly double the rate of, what a human can unload. So that just goes to show that, mobile robots are not a futuristic thing, as Murphy had pointed out in his story, but they're really being incorporated into facilities now and are showing real results. And then the other Advanced Manufacturing Now story I enjoyed also goes into impactful ways to drive results. Another Michael that we have written or has featured in the magazine, Michael Masser of Rockwell Automation, he pins a story on how to break down silos through cross-functional collaboration. And right off the bat, he shared a few kind of startling statistics. So he had said that tenure And the manufacturing industry has dropped from 20 years to 3 years, and 50% of new manufacturing employees are leaving their roles within 90 days. And then another one he had said also 70% of manufacturers are relying on, manual, older formats of getting, data collection, which of course can be tricky when it comes to info sharing between, the industry veterans and the people who have been at their companies for a long time versus, the industry newbies who are also a bit more well versed in, the today's technologies. So to kind of combat all of that, Master shares a way to break down barriers through a purpose, people, productivity, and process approach, which he breaks down. I won't share it all, so that way our readers can get a taste of it and go read it for themselves. But what he really stresses is, when you put collaboration at the center of workplace culture, it really changes how people work together. And Carrie, speaking of, workplace culture really bringing collaboration to the forefront, I believe the shop solution story for this issue kind of goes into that a bit more.
Yeah, collaboration was really at the core of this shop solutions story that I wrote. Thank you, Rachel. So this story is about Schneider Electric, which has a 200,000 foot plant in Lincoln, Nebraska, where it manufactures molded circuit breakers. And it's the second largest energy consumer for the company in North America. Before 2023, it was contributing about 840 tons of Scope 1 carbon emissions. And so Schneider Electric is trying to prioritize sustainability. They have a 2030 net zero roadmap that they're trying to follow. And so they set about attempting to decarbonize the plant, electrify it, and lower emissions. And they did reach out to two partners to help them on this journey. One was a company out of Fremont, Ohio, World Energy Innovations. It's a clean energy technology organization, and Control Services from Omaha, Nebraska, which specializes in building automation and systems integration. So World Energy Innovations conducted a feasibility study at Schneider's plant, and they've submitted a proposal that Schneider could utilize the waste heat from the manufacturing process there to provide comfort heating of the factory floor and the offices using low temperature water heating. So basically, it would be a way to repurpose that wasted heat into the heating of the plant. And they set about implementing this with the help of Control Services, updating the HVAC equipment within the facility. It was a 15-month process from start to finish. And by all accounts, it's been a big success. There was a case study that Schneider Electric put out that since they've implemented the waste heat recovery project, they've saved 6,000 million British thermal units. So that's equal to $55,000 in cost savings, 360 ton reduction of Scope 1 carbon emissions, 60% improvement in heating energy efficiency, improved air quality and occupant comfort, because they also positively pressurize the building. And one takeaway that Augustine Diaz from Schneider shared with me that was especially cool was that they've heard a lot of engagement from their employees who were excited about this, who have come to them and expressed that they're very invested in this company's sustainability efforts and are kind of on board with what Schneider is trying to do in terms of decarbonization and sustainability. And this is only phase one of two of the project that they're doing there. The second phase is going to involve installing a geothermal heat pump and getting rid of the last steam boiler there to fully eliminate fossil fuel consumption at the facility. And then the other story that I had the pleasure of writing for this issue was a workforce development story, very inspiring, about an organization called Focus Hope in Detroit that's been around since 1968. Originally, it was a food assistance program, but in 1981, they opened a machinist training institute to give underrepresented populations chances at careers in advanced manufacturing. And I spoke to Kevin Green, who's the manager of the institute, and it's a really amazing program. They have a 56,000 square foot facility in Detroit. They enroll about 200 students a year, free tuition, 15 weeks, 300 hours. They started with CNC machining, but now they offer welding, robotics, forklift operation. They've also shifted to a hybrid learning model since COVID. And for a lot of the students, Kevin told me, it's a second chance career for them. So the average age of students is actually 27, and they all get a weekly stipend for basic expenses. And they do utilize SMEs, Tooling U SME online courses and credentialing, which Kevin said has been a big benefit to them in terms of getting these students credentialed when they come out of the program. They also focus on soft skills, workplace skills, leadership, reliability, and 26,000 students have actually passed through the program since its inception. They've won awards, and they have many industry partnerships with manufacturers around Michigan who are employing these students, and they really aim for what an 80% rate. 80% of people who come into the program will finish, 80% will go into the workforce, and 80% will sustain their employment beyond a year. So, it's just a really kind of shining example of a manufacturing workforce training program that has sustained itself over decades and produced a lot of professional machinists and engineers. And how about you, Steve? What stood out to you in this issue?
Focus Hope is really a great program and goes to the core of what manufacturing is and could be, and aptly named, of course. But what really stood out to me, the highlight of the issue and my job overall, is the people that we get the opportunity to meet. And I know this was show season recently. We all been to a lot of SME's recent shows, the Manufacturing Technology Series, and had a chance to interact and interview with some amazing people. And this month, I spoke with several leaders who are truly shaping the future of manufacturing at the intersection of talent and technology. One example that really jumps out is Michael Greaves, a pioneer in PLM and digital twin technology, and now is working on a new concept that he's calling the digital metaverse, which takes digital twins to the next level of engineers collaborating in an immersive environment to design, engineer, and test complete systems and products, and make changes in real time and extrapolate failure analysis well into the future. And I think it was Mike that you were talking about, Guave Pandey, who actually is one of our 30 under 30 recipients for this year. So kudos to him, and just goes to show, how much talent there is, not only the industry veterans, but the up and coming generation as well. And Keith Kroc, who was the 2025 recipient of the M. Eugene Merchant Manufacturing Medal that recognizes a career of exceptional technology and innovation, has been, throughout his career. He started out as the youngest vice president in General Motors history. It went on to several startups, including what now is Fanuc Robotics, and then on to DocuSign, and then became Undersecretary of the U.S. and was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. But now, late in his career, he's still at it and has founded the Kroc Institute for Technical Diplomacy, and is really involved in bringing new industry back to the U.S., such as the semiconductor industry, is instrumental in helping spur that, and really is involved in education and helping the next generation move on with some initiatives at Purdue that he works on. And that brings me to Brett Connor, who joined SME last month as the company's first chief manufacturing officer, and really epitomizes SME's mission of accelerating the adoption of advanced manufacturing and bridging the gap between research and real-world applications and impact. So with his diverse career, which spans everything from the defense industry and additive manufacturing and academia, material science, and industrial engineering, Brett's really going to be at the the tip of the spear for SME and driving collaboration for the manufacturing industry, especially when it comes to small, mid-sized companies that sometimes don't have the wherewithal and the resources on their own, but need that help to reap the benefits of whether it's automation or AI and other emerging technologies. And one thing that really stood out to me when I was talking to him, he has kind of a catchphrase, there's meaning in manufacturing, which he defines as there's a fundamental passion and enjoyment of producing something, both from a personal standpoint, but also as the nation as a whole. And that's really what we're trying to achieve with manufacturing, engineering, and technology, and all the stories that we're telling here. And speaking of people, I wanted to thank everybody here today and all the insights that they bring to these stories. So thanks again, Amy, Carrie, Michael, and Rachel. And we look forward to the next issue of Manufacturing, Engineering, and Technology. And to read all the information on breaking news in the industry and hear the latest podcasts, visit advancedmanufacturing.org.